Alright, so welcome back. While I was away, I did a little looking around, and I found out that if we use scenemanager.getSceneByName, we get a scene instance back, and that instance will tell us whether or not the scene has been loaded or not. So that's a quick and easy way to check, if our scene's already in or not. We don't need to track that ourselves. Though it is a little annoying that I have to do this get scene and then check the object. I can't just query whether the scene is active or not. But I can add I guess it's static, so I can't add an extension to it. But, it's fine. It's not the worst thing in the world. However, another thing did come to light here, and that's that our collider on our loading corridor, our stairway, isn't allowing me to walk through it as the player. So I'm going to go ahead and look at that real quick. It's this collider right here. It is trigger. Is there something else going on here? I turned these two colliders off. Oops. I don't know. Maybe that was just my imagination, though. Let's go ahead and just try it out again. Yeah, so let's look at the scene. So we have our indoor area collider, and it says it's colliding with battle detection. This has a capsule collider on it. This battle detection has a sphere, which is well inside of, so that's not the part that's stopped. Is it actually the capsule collider that stopped me? And what's this additional sphere? I guess that's the sound effect controller. It's also a trigger and is kinematic. Is it the character controller? Because I thought I turned off the using collider for the character controller. Obviously without the character controller we can't actually move. That is intriguing. So how do we test this then? Let's see how tied my well, actually, let's also double check that I am disabling the collider. Pretty sure I am. Yeah, detect collisions is false, but I know there's issues with that. Yeah, this is a little all over the place. I don't really want to redo this without the character controller at the moment on something that might not be an issue. So... However, I'm passing through triggers already with other objects without any issue. I mean, is it because there's no rigid body on here, maybe? Like maybe I need a kinematic rigid body attached to this? Let's go ahead and just see. Yeah. That does remind me too, I did disable my HUDs and everything, didn't I? Because of the way the selection was working with Pro Builder, and I was having issues with that. Boy, that's annoying. Well, what do I have in the way of movement scripts? I guess I don't really have anything else, do I? Let's look at my old scripts folder. Yeah, nothing really. Well, nothing to do about it. And so this should all work without any changes in the scene. Oops. It's going to take some getting used to having to go back to this test indoor area scene every time. Yes, that all works fine. So let's go ahead and kill the character collider. Let's see what happens. Oh. So there we go, that wasn't too bad. So let's see if we get the same result. Sure don't. Wonderful. So character controller is part of the issue on that. Or am I simply just not colliding with anything now? So I was actually counting on that. Okay, so in that case, I think we're fine with the character controller staying. Which still begs the question then. So even though it's been set up as a trigger, why am I still hitting collision? And actually, now that I'm looking at this, does area collider go away? What's going on with this mesh collider? Like, why do I have this triangle here? So I wonder if my extruded face, like when I remove that doorway here, I wonder if that caused something to happen with the collider that never got that it never actually updated. Like, I wonder if that's not a known thing with Pro Builder. Well, let's go ahead and, I got this collider thing here. Let's go ahead and remove this collider. And let's add a mesh collider. And we'll make it convex. It's the same thing, it's putting right across here. Righty. Okay. Maybe because the collider was convex and not concave. Let's take that back a notch. So let's come back to our test indoor area and try that again from outside. Yeah, I'm allowed in, and I can't collide with anything. The level 2 never actually loaded in. Why? Because because I disabled the collider. Oh, and that brought this back. Well, this one's a trigger, so it should be fine. Oops. So there we go. So there's our indoor area loaded. All that jive. So now that that's out of the way, we need to unload our previous area. Right? So here's our scenario, right? So we get our indoor area 1 in. And we're going to come through here to the tower. While we're in the tower, both areas are going to be loaded. Now we need to detect on trigger exits fine. We need to do one of two things, right? So we need to, when the on trigger exit occurs, we need to detect which level we're in and unload the other one. Or rather than caring about the on trigger exit, we have an additional trigger here in our level, and that trigger enter is going to fire an event that's going to be hooked onto by all of our loading areas that are in the scene. And they're going to tell them to unload everything except for this area, right? So if I go into the loading area, area 1 and area 2 are going to be loaded in. And if I come back through here and I hit my trigger, which will have a little bit of distance from the doorway, that trigger is going to know that it's a part of level 1. Right? I'm going to have some identifier on the object or some way for it to know about its level information in the scene or something of that nature. It's going to know about that, and it's going to fire its event. But, so how does the loading area know about that? Is there like a GameObject.find or GameObject.get components in scene that's going to get all of the whatever trigger objects and know which ones are associated with which level and which to hook the event? Or is it going to be more of a, well, we could do a broadcast message. Yeah, we could broadcast message on that one, and that keeps us a little more separated. So we know that, hey, level whatever is entered, it's going to pass the level name, and all the objects, all the scene, or rather, all the loading corridor things are going to, know about that message. They're going to have that method implementation, and they're going to use that parameter. They're going to check their scenes, and here's the trick. If the scene name that is in their collection is not if none of them match, we're going to unload all those scenes that they're connected to, as well as the loading object itself. I think that sounds right. Well, let's start and let's see what ends up happening. So first off, level 1 here, we're going to have our trigger. Yeah. So there we go. So there's our collider. Object management, script. We'll call this our level entered handler. Let's see, object management, level entered handler. So on notified player entered level. All right, we're going to broadcast that out with the level name. Our level name is going to be indoor area 1, of course. And of course, there can be multiple of these in the level. Now, let's go ahead and... So we have our loading area. And this guy loads our connected levels on entry. On exit, we're not doing anything at the moment. Go ahead and do that. On notify player entered level, if this dot connected levels, well, actually here we go. So for each string level in connected levels, So, going through all the connected levels, if the so for each scene, if the level so we'll save ourselves a search iteration. So, when we get that broadcasted message, we're getting the level that the player is entered. We're going to loop through all of the connected levels to this loading area. And we're going to unload every single scene that is loaded that does not match the level name that the player is in. If none of the items in the connected levels matches the level the player's in, then the level the player's in is no longer connected to this loading area. So we can unload that scene as well. So, as far as our scene here is concerned, our level has our one trigger with at our exit point. Fact of the matter is that when we first load up, we have this level and we have our loading area are loaded automatically. When we enter here, since there are no other scenes that are loaded, we're just doing a couple of string loops and that's it. There's no scene loading or unloading going on. It's only once we've entered the loading area and our other areas are loaded that these triggers are going to start to actually do anything. And I do not know if unload scene is going to be, is there an unload scene asynchronous? Or is it always synchronous? Yeah, there's no unload async. So we'll see what kind of performance that actually has. That could be a problem if our scenes get to be too large. But let's go ahead and move on. So this is fine. Indoor area, and actually I'm going to go ahead and... Well, we haven't really been creating any prefabs out of anything. So let me go ahead, object management prefab. Let's create a level entered trigger. Level information, I don't really care about too much. I think that's the only thing. So, scenes, indoor area 2. Let's go and grab our prefab. So there we go. We just got that right in our doorway. And this is indoor area 2. So that should be good. And our loading area doesn't actually need anything else. Well, no, our loading area, we need to set our loading area level name. So let's pop back into that scene. There we are. Yeah. All right, let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. So we'll be watching our hierarchy here. So we got our gameplay objects, indoor area 1, and our loading area. Broadcast message has no receiver. That's fine. Well, we'll go back and update that overload so it doesn't require a receiver. Indoor area 2 is now in. Let's head on upstairs. Has no receiver. On notify player entered level. On notify player entered level. I spelled it all correctly. Capitalization matches. These methods need to be public? I wouldn't think so. And at the same time, let's go ahead and I'll need to be throwing exceptions out of that. So let's try that again. Unless it's because the parameter I've specified is a string and not a object. Yeah, okay, so it's not actually hitting. We'll add a couple of those there. So, am I doing broadcast message anywhere else I can look at real quick? Yeah, I guess actor. I'm using interrupt attach QTE. Parameterless. And it takes no parameters. So, I mean, I would think the casting would work, but, you know, just for the sake of, just for the sake of trying things out, let's see if that's the issue. And if that's not the issue, I'm going to go ahead and take to the internet and see if there's any significant information about broadcast message not picking up. Because I thought broadcast message was supposed to fire off. So yeah, we're hitting the broadcast, but we're not ever hitting the receive. Oh, right. It's only on objects that are children of this object. I forgot that part. I forgot all about that. And nothing useful there. Now send message I thought was another thing. Calls the method on every mono behavior in this game object. Yeah, so that's just in this object. Yeah, okay. Alright, so a little bit different route then. Let's go ahead. So game object has some useful stuff here. It's the difference between find a scene object with type. That's deprecated, so whatever. So we're going to do a find game objects with tag. We're going to put a specific tag on all of our level manager objects. And we're going to use that to just get the level manager object and just call the method, right? So we're not going to broadcast anymore. So level manager, or loading area rather, we're going to get rid of that. So we can just use the string. This will be public. Yeah, okay. So edit project settings, tags and layers. And we're going to add a new tag. Whoa, we're going to add a new tag. Right. Now, tags.player. So I've got tags here. Player's a built-in tag, by the way. So this guy. Game object dot find objects with tags. Is this just a game object array? Sure is. So we'll find the game objects with tag. We're going to loop over all the objects that we find. And we are going to get the loading area component and call the method. Bada bing, bada boom. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Which means I need to go to my loading area script in this scene. Or rather this object, with my loading area script on it, and we'll change his tag to loading area. Let's give that a swing and see what happens. So we got our broadcast and our call was hit. We went into the loading corridor and our second area loaded in. And let's go and walk on out. Nothing. Our called hit. Loading area dot connected levels. I'm not logging level name anywhere. I did set level name, yes. Yeah. Indoor area 1, indoor area 2. Well, we can always debug. Why is connected levels empty? And this dot loading area is also empty. Do I have... What's going on here? I screwed something up when I was setting these levels up. So what is this supposed to be? That shouldn't exist. Did I accidentally add that in at some point? I mean, I've got this level entered handler, which is the broadcast. I think I meant to add something else, and I added the loading area script instead. I think I meant to add this level information script. Right? Which also I do need to do this. And add that in there as well. And actually I can create a prefab out of my the one I have in the indoor area 1. Except I just have that at the top level. So whatever, copy component. Nah. That was probably what I meant to add. Let's try that again. So we're going to pop in here, indoor area 2 loads. I'll pop over here, and nothing still. Oh, I've got 2 loading area scripts on here. Jeez. What am I doing, people? What am I doing? Tell you what, though. Tell you what I am doing. This is going to be a bit of a mess. So I am going to remove this one. I'm going to copy this one, and I'm also going to remove it. Right? And we're just going to go ahead and create an empty, because this is getting out of hand. You know, adding stuff to these Pro Builder objects, I'm losing track of things. Oops. Didn't mean to play that scene. And now my second scene didn't load. Because it relies on the on-trigger enter. Of course. Wow. I'm very sorry. I am literally forgetting everything that I'm doing. There's this is a special sort of development session you guys are seeing today. You know, I'm in rare form right now. Just literally one thing after the other. But this should have it. So there's our indoor area 2, and when we pop back out, indoor area 2 should go away. Boy, did that lock up. Boy, oh boy. What happened? That's not good. Unity just choked. Unity is not responding. Alright, let's relaunch that. Well, that's cool. Special little on video shout out here. China Freak liked my tweet. My first like of a tweet that gets sent out when a video I did went live. So that's it's a Chris Kugler developer session first right here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, China Freak. Interesting name, though. Gotta say. You know, who knows? Maybe we'll get double meta here, and we'll turn back around, and whenever this video goes up live in like a month, China Freak will see that, and then we'll get a like on that one. We'll just keep going more and more layers into the silliness. So, alright, so what... I mean, we definitely hit this broadcast, apparently, because, I mean, crap went haywire, and all of a sudden, things are... The unload scene caused Unity to lock up. I'll tell you what we're going to do. So I'm going to assume it's the actual unload that caused that to lock up. But, So when we hit our level entered handler, we grab all of our game objects with that tag, and we do the onNotify with the level name. Our level name would have been Area 1, Indoor Area 1 rather. We should have hit this on blah 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 blah, and looped over the two areas, unloaded Indoor Area 2. Indoor Area 1 should have been left alone. Indoor Area 1 was in the level collection, so we would have skipped over this unloading of the loading level itself, and we should have popped back out. So let's throw some debug.logs. And actually, I'm also going to go ahead and get rid of this unload scene. Because I do believe that's the issue. So that'll give us a little bit more info, and hopefully it won't freeze this time. How far back was my last save? Looks like loading area is good, and I don't have anything else going on there. So we should be alright on that front. Alright, so we ran right on through there, nothing locked up, so it was definitely the unload scene. So what happened here? So, onNotify, checking level Indoor Area 1, Indoor Area 1's in the collection. Checking level Indoor Area 2, unload scene Indoor Area 2. We're calling this twice though, and that's kind of a problem as well, right? So I kind of expect to only see this happen once, right? Because we're on the on trigger enter, correct? Yeah, on trigger enter. It's because I have two different colliders that are going in on it. Because in addition to this battle detection, which I do not remember why I have this. I don't think this is necessary, but I keep going back and forth on this, and I made a note to check it. So let's go ahead and just run through here, and we'll see if we hit twice. So it's called, and it's called a second time. Battle detection, first person player. Okay, so that's definitely the deal, is this battle detection is also hitting. If unload scene is asynchronous, it's possible we were unloading the same scene multiple times. That's possible. Sounds like shenanigans to me, but it's definitely possible. So let's go ahead and kill that for a quick second. We'll put our unload scene back in here. Unloads all game objects associated with a given scene. Note that assets are currently not unloaded in order to free it. Note that assets are currently not unloaded. In order to free up asset memory, call resources.unload all unused assets. That's going to require a little bit more research. Actually, you know what? I need to do that right now. Actually, I was just looking at that too, wasn't I? Unload scene. Unloads all game objects associated with a given scene. The given scene name can either be the last part of the path without .unity extension or the full path still without the unity extension. Path has to be exactly as shown, blah, blah, blah. Note that assets are currently not unloaded in order to... Yeah, okay. So it doesn't really tell me much. That search sure didn't get me anywhere either. Unity engine.resources. It should just be in Unity engine. There we go. Resources. How about some methods? There we go. Unload unused assets. An asset is deemed to be unused if it isn't reached after walking the whole game object hierarchy, including script components. Static variables are also examined. Script execution stack, however, is not examined, so an asset referenced only from within the script stack will be unloaded and, if necessary, loaded back in the next time one of its properties or methods is used. Okay. So in particular, that could be useful for dealing with my prefabs and stuff like that. But let's go ahead and worry about that later. Either way, unload scene. And actually, I don't know what the deal is with this, but let's catch an... Isn't one of these take an exception object or something? No. For the most part, Unity doesn't really throw exceptions out of its code, but, you know, just in case. Just in case. That freeze was a little worrying, and, I mean, quite frankly, having the editor freeze all the time kind of jacks me up a bit. So there we go, indoor area 2. Let's pop back through here. And we definitely locked up again. And we locked up before my log updated. C. Let's go program files. At x86. Actually, yeah, there we go. Didn't I add something for... I guess I did not. Okay. Let's see here. So, lots of errors. Destroying game objects immediately is not permitted during physics, trigger, contact, animation, event, or callback on valid. You must use destroy instead. Okay. That's incredibly annoying, but that's fine. I can work with that. Oops. This guy. So let's go ahead and we'll pop Unity back open again. While we're doing that, let's do some shenanigans here. So we got our on trigger enter. We're going to do this on trigger exit. No, we can keep doing this on trigger enter. That's not going to affect anything. However, private enumerator. Sorry, got distracted for a second there. Let's see, on trigger enter, level entered notification. Yield return null. So we'll no longer be within our physics update, or rather our trigger update. And let's go ahead and run with it. Voila. All right. See that, ladies and gentlemen? Entered our loading area. Indoor area 2 has popped up. We're going to come back out, and now it's been unloaded. I am very glad. God, getting stuck on these stairs still. There we go. We unloaded area 1. I'm very glad to see that that is also incredibly seamless. Whoa. Whoopsie daisy. What happened there? I was almost about to call this video done. According to this, they're both still loaded, though. What the heck happened? It's there, allegedly. Boy. I don't know what to say to that. I'm still colliding against things. Well, clearly there is a bit of a lapse in our logic here. So I guess there will be yet another part to this, seeing as we're now at an hour and 10 minutes or so. So we'll come back to that. And there's probably a few other cleanup type things we need to take care of as well. So I will see you guys next time. All right, just a quick little update. I went looking around at a few different things as to why the geometry was unloading. And it seems to be, it's not an issue with ProBuilder, but it's something I didn't quite know. Apparently behind the scenes, the way these models work is they have this this mesh that gets generated, of course. But when you do, I need to do a little bit more reading on this, so forgive me if my knowledge of the topic's a little rudimentary. But when you mark things as static, with specifically batching static, it combines all of the, or at least as I understand it, it combines all of the meshes that are marked as batching static into one mesh. So the drawing call occurs once, which is great for performance, but when it comes around to unloading objects in the scene, additionally unloading unused assets, like we were talking about before with the resources.unload all unused assets, it actually kills off all the shared mesh points, which was leading us, our unload was triggering this shared mesh to be unloaded. So as you can see now, we're popping back and forth in here, and as you can see in the hierarchy window, the appropriate levels, parts of the level are are being unloaded. So, it's a really quick thing. It was, less of an issue with our setup and more of an issue with just the way ProBuilder works and my not completely understanding what it was when I was going around and checking these things to be fully static instead of the partial that it's set with initially. So, all's well that ends well. Take care, and we'll see you next time.